Perhaps one more minute and then we should start.
Okay, shalom everybody, and welcome to our final webinar that we arranged with the sessions called Tea at 10 with Telfed. And it's great that we've been able to be with you throughout your week of quarantine in the hotel. And finally, at our final webinar, we can say Mazal Tov on getting the luggage yesterday. As I wrote in the WhatsApp, I really want to thank our member of Knesset. It's always good to have a South African member of Knesset. So her name is Ruth Wasserman Landy. She's from Cape Town. She was educated at Herzliya School. And when we saw that things weren't moving, so Nava Lapid, who's with us this morning, Nava, our Chief Financial Officer, Nava said, why don't you just call Ruth? Maybe she can get things moving. So we placed the call to Ruth, and then you guys saw the results. She spoke to Penina Shatta, who is the Minister of Absorption, who then placed a call to Ben Gurion Airport and said, you guys get that luggage there now. And anyway, you guys saw the result of that phone call. So sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's good to have a South African in the Knesset, and I'm glad we were able to assist. So with our final webinar with the Telfed staff on the different topics, different market topics. So today, perhaps we get to one of they were all important, but certainly when you talk about employment and the job market in Israel, this is, if it's not number one, it's close there to the top, right? It's so important that you guys are able to enter the job market and to find a good job, a satisfying job, and one that's going to, pay the bills. In the parsha this week, we read V'achalta v'savata uveirachta, right? That you're going to eat. You're going to need to be able to eat and be satisfied in order to bless, right? So you have to be able to put food on the table. So I'm very, very happy to introduce today to you all Yael Strauss and Michal Merton, who are going to be running the webinar. And Yael is our employment advisor at Telfed, and Yael is also a life coach. And so important to be in touch with her to help you with really good advice regarding the job market. And then when we have Michal works as the career counselor at Telfed. And so between the two, between Yael and Michal, we have here a winning team, helping you to be able to figure out how to get into the Israeli job market in the best way possible. So I wanted to thank the two of them for their preparation and time that they put into having this webinar today. And I want to welcome the other staff members that we have with us. We have here Nicole, who's our community awareness administrator, making sure that you guys are aware what's happening within Telfed. And therefore, I want to say, if you haven't yet filled out the contact form, you got a link. Daniela, who's also with us today, our Klita advisor. So Daniela sent you a link to the contact form. If you haven't filled out that contact form yet, please do so, because it really is for your benefit that we can be in touch with you and we can give you updates of all sorts of things that change and are new. Once a month, you'll get the Telfed newsletter that gives you, all the updates of what's happening both in Telfed and around the country, and changes in laws with regards to Olim. I see just now in the chat, once again, that Daniela posted it for you. So please, if you haven't yet filled out that contact form, please do so. And it's just wonderful to have you with us this morning as you prepare for your exit from the hotel, please God, tomorrow, and really begin the proper Klita process once you get out of quarantine. So, B'atzlacha Rabbah, good luck to everybody, and thank you for joining us. And I hand over now to Yael and Michal for the professional side of the seminar. Boker Tov Kulam.
Thank you, Doron. Good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see you all here. There are some names that I recognize that we've been in touch with even prior to your arrival. Welcome to Israel. Of course, I'd like to introduce Michal Merten. She's our career counselor, and she meets with people. She has a few hours a week with us, and she can really give in-depth help to people who want to make changes, need to make changes, and think together how best to go forward. So our webinar today will be in 3 parts. The first part, Michal will give an overview of the situation in the Israeli job market right now. It will be general and not specific for any profession. Afterwards, I will give a short summary of what Telfed's services are, how we can help you, what you can come to us with. And at the end, we'll open up to questions, any questions you have. Of course, for personal questions, it's always best to be in touch with us one-on-one, and we'll get into that later. So Michal, please.
Sorry, Michal, just before I go to you, I did mention this is the last professional of our webinars. This is the last professional one, but at 2:00 this afternoon, there is the press seminar for activities for the kids, which I didn't mention. So for all of you guys who have kids, please join us at 2:00 this afternoon. So your kids can have a great time with our press students. They receive a scholarship from us. They do 3 hours of community service a week. Important thing for you guys also to remember, if you're going to be studying or your kids are going to be studying, that you can be students. But in the meantime, enjoy the service from our students for the kids that are in quarantine at the hotels. And sorry, I forgot to mention that, and I'm sorry I interrupted there, Yael. Over to you, Michal.
No worries. Thank you, Yael, and thank you, Doron, for your kind words and your introduction. Okay, can everyone see the presentation?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, wonderful. So, wow, I'm so excited to welcome you all to Israel. Bruchim habayim from me too. A few thoughts before we dive in. I was thinking that, Aliyah might be easier than other kinds of immigration, but despite the help that the state of Israel provides Olim and everyone's best intentions, moving across a continent to a country that you might have visited or even lived in for a while, not speaking the language at a native level, not always understanding the cultural nuances is difficult. And so this morning I ran into an article that suggests a different approach to the fake it till you make it advice we often get or give others when facing adversity. It actually addresses entrepreneurs, but it got me thinking that Aliyah is very much an enterprise, and that the CEO's suggestions are actually applicable to many life-changing situations. He says that since faking it basically means a level of deceit, maybe face it till you ace it. Face this new challenge with truth and honesty, and you will win many more people over and get the help that you really need. And the other thing he suggests is be it until you see it, kind of paraphrasing Gandhi's be the change you want to see in the world. And you can do this by modeling someone who has succeeded. It's something that I speak to many Olim and even Israelis, when we want to make a career change and we're not sure what we want to do and how we want to do it, modeling someone who has succeeded really helps. asking them what helped them, how they did it. And that is something that we also do in some of our webinars. We bring Olim who have made it. They made a career change. They have a successful aliyah, and who are ready to help you with advice and guidance. So just, some thoughts early in this morning. As Yael said, I'm sure you have many questions. We will try and answer as many as possible today, but I know that many questions will arise over time. So know that this is just the beginning, and we're here for you. But more about that in a minute, and Yael will address it. I have prepared a short presentation to give you an overview of the Israeli job market, and I even have some really nice numbers here. I don't want to go over them. You can read we can send you the presentation later, and you can go over this. Just let me say that Israel, like every other country, has been affected by COVID, or what we like to call Corona. Still, unemployment rate is not very high. There are jobs to be had, and we're here to help you figure out which would work well for you. Even what we call high tech, including technology, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, software. Okay, here's a slide with those. Okay. It's all been impacted, but the hiring process has started again. And they do have positions for sales, marketing, digital marketing, technical writers, content writers, customer care, even accounting. So the fact that you don't have an engineering degree doesn't mean that you can't go into those lucrative companies and the high-tech industry. But, again, Israel by numbers, how long does it take to find a job? You can read that. Let's talk about how to find a job in Israel. So many people say, let's start with a CV, and some of you, while still overseas, have reached out, and we started helping you with your CVs and your LinkedIn profile. And those are the tools of the trade, because finding a job is a trade. It's a job unto itself. But even before you start with that, as I said, those are tools. What we want to do is create a strategy and a work plan. So number one is figure out what your financial needs are. There are numbers, I'm sure you know, how much money you're going to need month over month to make it. Then what are your goals as a family, as a person, in your career? Do you want to find any job? I need to land a job as soon as possible because I need to earn some shekels and get my family some money. Or can you wait to find your dream job, or something in between? Again, I'm here to help you figure out what would be the best strategy for you. Can you, or do you want to work a full or part-time? Work from home has become very popular, especially now under COVID. Some of you might be able to still work for the present company that you work for in South Africa. Maybe do that, or for an Israeli or a global company, freelancing. And who is your network? It's really a lot about who, as Doron just demonstrated. And just yesterday, I received an email from an Ole who said, he just met a friend from Ulpan, and they went to the Carmel market, and he had another friend with him. And through that other friend, he actually got a job in a very lucrative position, a very lucrative company. So even, if you don't think you know anyone, you probably know someone who knows someone. So use that. It's really important. So that's about a strategy. Then we can progress to your job search. We want to start by defining what your vision is, what your goals are, what is possible. What is your knowledge? What are your skills? What is your experience? How are those applicable to the Israeli market? Again, we're here to help you with that. By creating your PVP, your professional value proposition, and a professional brand, you can answer any interview question, especially the one that is very common here. Why should we hire you over someone else? So what is it that you know that no one else does? Are you an excellent salesperson who can move mountains and find the best leads? Are you an excellent engineer or a QA person who can solve problems? Think about what it is that other people, what did your colleagues come to you for? And I'm sure all of you have a vast base of knowledge and excellent skills and a lot of experience that you can leverage. From there, you can start defining the one or more positions that you'd like to find. It can be in more than one field. It can be in sales and in marketing and in business development. It can be in customer care. It can be more than one. And then notice it's the fifth, I think, thing on my list. That is when we start crafting and adapting and tailoring your CV, one or more, to the specific job, your LinkedIn profile, and thinking about your social media presence. Because I mentioned networking, LinkedIn and social media are the way to find a job, to be found, and just get yourself out there. And then follow the companies that will be a good fit for you. If you find just the one, say you decide you want to work for Microsoft, from there you can start mapping the ecosystem. Who are the competitors? Who are the vendors, their suppliers? Who are the strategic partners? It's a whole list of companies that might be a good fit for you. You can start following them again on social media, on LinkedIn, the career page, find people who work there, and just create this as part of your strategy and your job plan, your search plan, right? Create a list of your daily tasks and monitor your process. I said it's a job, but on the other hand, don't start working 9 hours a day at this. It's daunting as it is. Again, we're here to help you. I'm sure others will be happy to help you. Decide how many hours a day you're going to do this. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then, give it a rest. We all need a rest sometime. So how do companies in Israel hire? This is what we call the hiring funnel. So number one is sourcing. Sourcing means that people are not just looking for CVs that people send on a job board. They're looking for you on LinkedIn and on social media. They're asking employees to recommend others. Many jobs are not even posted. They are just posted internally, and they ask employees to recommend others. So again, is going to be so important. The second level is screening. And screening, I'll show you in a second, is done very often automatically using ATS, Applicant Tracking System. Then, if the computer spits out your CV or your name, they'll be assessing how well suitable you are to that specific position. If you have received a phone call, you're being interviewed for the job, meaning you have actually passed all 3 levels. So it's no small feat of accomplishment receiving that phone call. And remember, the phone call is an interview, as I said. Interviews can go on to be a series of. It can be an HR interview, a professional one. You might be asked to prepare a presentation. So it could be more than one interview. They will then verify by speaking to your references. You can bring letters of recommendation to the interview, but mostly they will want to either speak or correspond with your references. Then, God willing, you will get the offer. Please don't stop looking for a job until you have actually signed the contract. You're welcome to send it to us first. Only then are you hired. You never know. So quite a few steps until you're hired, and it can take a while. but I'm sure you will do well. So where do we find a job? There are recruiting agencies, headhunters, sourcers, people who troll the internet, outsourcing companies, and job boards and portals. Like I said, social media and LinkedIn, networking, companies' career pages, very, very important. We have a template and a letter that we can send you about your Israeli CV. It needs to be short, and like I said, it needs to be ATS friendly. The ATS, the applicant tracking system, is really a make it or break it. So if you haven't looked at the ad properly and made sure that the industry-specific words are present in your CV, you might just be stuck in cyberspace and not even be noticed. So if you're not getting any responses, look to see if your CV is ATS compatible. And again, we're here to help you verify that. So I've spoken about the interviews. So very often we're asked, what are jobs for Anglos? If I don't speak any Hebrew, what can I do almost immediately until I learn a little bit, or if my Hebrew is very basic? This is a partial list of jobs that you can get or you can retrain for. We can talk to you about retraining and about licensing as well. Okay, I just want to say on this note, if you're thinking about opening your own business, I'll be very blunt and say we don't encourage that during the first year or so. Please do get your land feet, get to understand the Israeli culture. It's very easy to fail. We don't want you to fail. If you do decide to go that way, we'll be happy to help. But I think going into a business first and understanding it, you'll be much more successful after you've done that. And remember, somewhere, someone is looking for exactly what you have to offer.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michal. So as I said, we'll have questions in a few minutes. If you want, in the meantime, you can write them in the chat. I'd like to give a short overview of what we do at the employment department at Telfed. So first and foremost, I think it's most exact to say that we help you adapt. We help you adapt to the Israeli job market. We do that by helping you prepare an Israeli CV. Those of you who need help with a LinkedIn profile, especially if you're if you're high tech, if you're in finances, you should have a strong LinkedIn profile. We help you with that as well. We introduced you to the various resources, just as Michal mentioned right now, that various job boards. We also have a job board which is very active every day. I post on it. I have a couple of jobs every day. It's worthwhile looking at it. And we also help with connections. First of all, if I get a job, I try to match it with people who I know who are looking for jobs. And in addition, people that are trying to get into a specific company, a specific industry. There are a lot of South Africans that have been in Israel for many, many years, and Australians, and we have a very good network of connections. We really try to help with that. And in addition, as Michal mentioned, it's using all your friends, your relatives. You wouldn't believe how far these connections will get you. Israel is very much based on networking and connections. We also help with the professions that require licensing. All the medical professions, teachers, lawyers, accountants, all need to be licensed in order to work in Israel. We can give you the exact information how to go about it and support you. Sometimes these processes get stuck, and we have connections in the various offices that can sometimes help you move forward with the process. This is very important to go by, because otherwise you just won't be able to work in your profession in Israel. We also assist with decisions regarding higher education, especially with relating to what you could do with it later on. There are very good offers for young people coming here who want to study, free tuition up to a certain age, scholarships. We also have scholarships. I'm sure you've heard of that. So please, if you're debating what to study, where to study, feel free to contact us. We are knowledgeable about the Israeli labor laws. We are not lawyers. I want to say that clearly. But if you feel that you are being treated unfairly or unlawfully, please feel free to contact us. We can talk about it with you. We can tell you if it's true or not, and also point you in the direction of legal assistance if needed. Hopefully nobody will get to that place. And of course, we're also very happy to review your job contract to make sure that it's fair, that it's lawful. And as Michal mentioned, please be sure, don't start working before you have signed the contract. Unfortunately, we have heard sad stories in that direction as well. We really encourage you to be in touch with us. We'll very gladly have one-on-one meetings. We have a lot of Zoom meetings. There's no need to travel to Ra'anana if you're living, far away, or even in Tel Aviv. Now with COVID, in general, we don't encourage meetings, but we do a lot of work on Zoom, and we're very happy to meet with you, to discuss with you. Michal gives full attention, a couple of hours a week, and just sometimes you need to take your transferable skills and move into other professions. It's very it's possible in Israel. Right now, the job market is really hungry for Anglos, for native English speakers. You could find yourself in a totally different profession, making a very good income, and it's just a question of helping you make the transition, if it's through your CV, through your LinkedIn, or promoting yourself and showcasing yourself in the correct way. So we really encourage you to be in touch with us. We look forward to hearing from you, and I guess we're opening up now to questions. Michal, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you covered all. So we have a few questions already in the chat.
Okay.
Okay. So, about work hours. We work long hours in Israel, 42 hours a week. Sorry, oops, let me go back to those numbers. Right, here we go. It really depends. Some companies will give you what we call a global salary. It means that you're expected to work an X number of extra hours per month. They are paid, and they are paid well, but it's something that you should know. In most cases, it really depends on the job, but 8 to 5, is normal. You get a lunch break, of course. And the work week is Sunday to Thursday, unless, say, in a shop, you might be asked to work a Friday or Motzei Shabbat. In high tech, long hours are very often expected. But in general, this is the rule of thumb. There was also a question about salaries. These are some numbers that minimum wages for a full-time job is 5,300 shekels. It hasn't really changed in a while. The average monthly salary has gone up. I think it's mostly due to the high-tech industry that is just going berserk over finding talent. And so there has been increase of a 10% increase even during COVID. If you have questions regarding specific roles, we'll be happy to tell you what the average salary should you be expecting. Any other questions?
I forgot to mention that we also have been having webinars since the beginning of COVID. We had 10 webinars last year, and we've already had 2 or 3 this year. And we can send them to you, or also please keep an eye out on additional webinars that we're doing. The one coming up hopefully soon will be about content writing. We're putting forward different professions that people with native English can transition into. So this also might be something interesting you'd like to look out for. It's all advertised in the newsletter and on our website.
Okay.
Sorry, can you just repeat the last thing that you said? I missed it. My Wi-Fi dropped. What was the important thing that you forgot to mention?
That we have webinars. We have been doing webinars since the beginning of COVID, when people were less able to come to us. We've had a series of webinars about employment-related issues. And this year, we've actually started putting forward webinars regarding professions that people with native English can transition into. The first one was with Hilton Burke. It was about SDR, sales development representatives, and how you, even if you've come from a background of sales in real estate, you can transition into working in high tech by working as an SDR. Now there's also a course that's run, I think it's called a sales class or something like that. I can send you a link that will help you prepare for such a job. Again, it's how to get into high tech without having a technical background. Our second webinar this year was about technical writing. Again, if you know how to write in English, even if you're not from a technical background, you can get a job in high tech being a technical writer. Thank you, Michal. This is the sales class course. You're welcome to apply. It's run by Nefesh Benefesh and by a group of professionals from the industry, a couple of them South Africans. So I was talking about the technical writing course. We can send you a recording of that webinar that we had as well. You can take courses in Israel that you can learn how to be a technical writer, and many of them will also place you later at the end of the course. And as I said, we're going forward. The end of the month, we should have a webinar about content writing, bringing in 2 stories of 2 women who came from totally different directions. You have to be able to write well, but it's writing about all kinds of different topics. You can work as a freelancer, you can be employed by a company, and there's a huge demand. There is a huge demand for content writing, from long briefs to social media writing. But they need content in English because most of the sales is to the United States and Europe.
Okay. We have another few questions here. So regarding the webinars, if it wasn't clear, we record them. You're welcome to write us and we'll send you the links. The webinar for transitioning into the high-tech world was with Hilton Burke, most about the sales. He's one of the people who initiated the sales class that Yael mentioned and I showed on screen. We have, I've given a webinar on LinkedIn. It's a 2-part webinar. We're happy to send you that as well. We have a lot of resources on the Telfed webpage. If you go to the Telfed website, under employment, there are Q&A, there's a blog, and many of the questions additional questions are answered there. How many leave days do you get a year by law? Right. So you start your career with 12 leave days a year. But if you come to Israel and you have a few years experience, you don't necessarily need to go back to those 12 leave days. You can say, I do have the experience. I should be receiving, and your contract is negotiable. One of the things that you understand, it's an offer, and you can go back and say, hey, you said I should be getting 13 or 14 days leave, but I have 20 years experience, so I think I should be getting 16 days leave. Okay, so it's all negotiable within reason. Is there a summary of tax laws available?
Yes.
Yes.
There are benefits for new olim from income tax. It goes for the first, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years, I think. I have to look that up. But we have a document that will explain to you all the deductions from your salary, the income tax, the Social Security, Bituach Leumi, the health insurance, and the pension fund is compulsory from the beginning. That is, it's not for you to choose if you want it or not. Your employer must pay you a pension fund, otherwise they are breaking the law. So for New Orleans, they must start your pension fund after the first 6 months. It's your responsibility to choose a pension fund, but they must put money in there. There's no question about it. So it's less money in your account this month, but going forward for the long term, you want to have a pension fund. And I'll send out the summary of this document. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so it's very nice seeing you all. I hope we got down all your names. So we'll be sending out emails to all the people that participated today. Please feel free to get back to us with any personal questions, any specific questions for your profession. We're here for you. I'm in the office every day, 8 hours a day. Michal is in the office about 4 or 5 hours every week. And we could set up meetings. And of course, we're open for anything we could do to help you. Good luck with going out into the big new world outside in Israel. Good luck with your aliyah, and please contact Telfed. We are here to help you and to have you have a successful aliyah. One more message here.
Okay, take care,
Okay.
everyone. And I think if I would leave you with just one last tip. In Israel, it pays to be determined, positive, creative, and proactive, and network. So we're here for you, and we hope to hear all good things from you. Be'atzlacha.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.